Azimio leader Raila Odinga has today stated for Africa to improve its financial capability, then improvement of infrastructure will play a key role in easing transportation of goods and services. Odinga, who lauded his AUC bid, called on African leaders to speak in one voice so as to boost the growth of Africa economically.
While showing his appreciation to the former president of Nigeria, Oguboy Obasanjo, for proposing him to fly the Kenyan flag in the elections of the chairman of the African Union, Azimio leader Raila Odinga has made it clear that Africa has all the resources to be independent without depending on foreign countries. According to Odinga, if he is given the seat, then he will lead in strengthening and developing the Africa infrastructure to boost economic ties.
Inter-European trade stands at 70%. Inter-Asian trade stands at 60%. Even South America, 35%. Africa, only 15%. What are the impediments? The impediments are: one, non-tariff barriers imposed by different countries on the continent. Secondly, lack of infrastructure in the continent, makes it very difficult for goods to move from one country to the other country. And that's why I said we need to take this animal called infrastructure head on. The Trans-African highways, the Trans-African high-speed network, the open skies in the continent, and so on.
Lauding himself as the next AUC chairman, Odinga rubbished the use of travel visas to travel between African countries, saying that it is useful to have special visas used by the citizens of African countries, explaining that this will enable business relationship to strengthen.
As things stand today, to travel within the African continent by air is a problem. They are taxing you to fly over air, open air. And you must get a license to fly over one country to the other country. They don't do that in Europe anymore. We are going to introduce African Union visas.
Odinga also highlighted the effects of Africa as a continent in terms of climate change, where he stated that African countries should speak in one voice so that they can get compensation from foreign countries which have greatly affected climate action.
Many African countries today live between two disasters: floods and drought. We need to find ways of dealing with this. But Africa also needs to be compensated by the offenders. To negotiate as individual countries, you get nowhere.
Obasanjo, on the other hand, emphasized his stand to support Odinga, explaining that he is the key figure to changing Africa, for he has experience in infrastructure development, and given the vast mineral resources in Africa, then with the right leadership, Africa will be among the wealthiest continents globally. Raila Odinga is now expecting to write his name in the books of history as a leader dedicated to developing Africa. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.